Hey, how's it going? So I pulled some cards that I am going to read for you. But first, please look at my signs. Oh, it's like really dark. It's better when I hold it close, though. Uh, oh, you did not need to see up my nose. Okay, there you go. Oh, here we. It's gonna be one of those days. I can see that already. Okay, so I pulled one card from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, and it is number 1, Tidy House, Clarity and Organization. I also pulled a card from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, and I'm on a roll. It's another black bird. It's the crow again. And I pulled some from a third deck. Okay, all of you can just get out of here. And that is the, whoops. Oh, things are not all in there. Hold on a second. Gotta be anal for a second. Ah. Okay, close the box. Gotta make it all tidy. I know. I didn't know I was this way until recently. Somebody tried to tell me and I didn't believe them. So yes, I pulled 3 from the Light Seers Tarot deck. And they are the Magician. Boy, you know, I have done that all my life. Like, I almost said musician. I had an uncle that was a musician, and I always almost called him a magician all the time. Anyway, you needed to know that. So, yes, the Magician. And there was another feature that is on a card that has been coming up a lot. And it is not the number 8, but the infinity symbol there on the Magician's cowl cowl, whatever. Let's go with hood. And so that is meaningful to me, and I will expand upon that as I go along. I love how the Magician here is obviously working some sort of spell, ritual, something like that. But the pool, it seems like there's a pool that they're it almost looks like they're sprinkling something. Is that like coming out of someplace else? Nope, coming out of their hands. So it's not sprinkles of like solid sprinkles. It's energy, I think. So, but the pool, I kind of is not a pool. Kind of looks like a galaxy or something like that. So, and the colors I love. I mean, I just like those colors. The sort of turquoisey greenish situation here, and this jade, and this lavender with a dark royal blue back here, or purple. I don't know. I was gonna say, I just find them calm, and then my brain's all entrancing. You know, magicians, I guess, have that capacity to entrance and enthrall people. But I feel like this is more of a situation that's being influenced here. And it's big because it's like galaxy-sized. The second card I pulled from the... Wow. Super brain fart. From the Light Seers deck was 2 of Cups. And I thought, you know, this... It looks like a love situation, but it also could stand for like a partnership or a deal made. And so, pin that. And then the final card I pulled from Lightyear's deck was the 7 of Pentacles. And, oh man, this deck, I swear I've found like 4, I think, people that are either actors or somehow prominent. One of them was David Dole from the Rational National channel on YouTube. And the death card looks like him. Should I show it to you? I don't know. I'm not going to do that right now, but it doesn't have his hair, but the face is dead on David Dole. And so, and there was a couple of other actors. They weren't like hugely known, but they were character actors, and they both, like, all of them have been around for a couple of them way longer than the others. But this guy, I just saw him, the actor that this card looks like, the guy on the card looks like, I'll have to see if I can find it. And that guy, another character actor, he's in a bunch of stuff. Like, I think he was in, what was it? Oh, I don't think it's on anymore, but I think it was like Station 11. It was like a mini series on HBO. There was like a sci-fi. Oh god, that was so good. And I guess it just like had its run. Like, I don't think it got canceled. I think that it just was a limited series, and it just had its run, and that was it. And I was like, wait, I want more. So I know I say this all the time, and I don't do it, or I do it, but much later. So if you watched it one time and I didn't put what I said I was going to put in the information box, someone later may come along and watch, and it will be there. So there's a fun fact for you. What I'm trying to get at is, if I can recall the show, I think it was Argyle. I think it was a commercial for Argyle. I'm not even sure what it's about. It's got like a bunch of stars in it, and it's like a big deal right now, and I'm a fool, because I just saw it. Looked like the whole movie was on YouTube just for free, and I scrolled past it, and when I went looking for it later, do you think I can find it? Nope. So, I'm not sure, but I want to see Argyle anyway. There was an actor in this ad that I think was for Argyle, and it was the actor that looks like this guy. So if I can see it or find it, I'll add it at some point. But also, look at him. The guy has been in a lot of stuff. The face might be familiar to you. You might know the name. If you know the name, feel free to add it to the comment section. I would appreciate it. But anyway, 7 of Pentacles. You know, I'll tell you what the guidebook said about this. It said, planting seeds for the future. Focus on the long term, basically, because he's sitting there, you know, encouraging his little seedling to grow. We've got an awful lot of roots for such a tiny plant, huh? That tells me there's a whole lot more going on with this situation. It's almost like, I'm almost getting like this kind of vibe from it. Like they're both, you know, through their hands conjuring up something that's gonna hopefully materialize at a later date. Obviously, this is in the process of materializing, and I wonder if 2 cards ago this didn't somehow influence this guy and it's his crop, his harvest. Anyway, so let me begin. So the first card I pulled was Tidy House, and the subtitle is Clarity and Organization, and that's what got me. Because I saw a bunch of news over the past couple of days of the type that I tend to pay attention to, but, you know, particularly referring to the political election situation here in the United States, and the candidates and the campaign people, like the whole prop 'em up staff and all of that. Like, it's a whole, like, brigade of people for each candidate and stuff like that, and the parties also have their brigades of people for whatever stuff. I'm not a political party expert person, so I just vote and opine. So anyway, I looked at this and I thought, there's a house for everybody. Like, everybody's got a preference, and that kind of aligns with like choosing your sort of political leanings. I was gonna say biases, but I think those are more deeply rooted than just politics. I think they affect what politics you affect or choose. But it's not like the whole enchilada. There's a lot of trimmings. There's a lot of side dishes. But so there's a lot of choices politically, basically, is what I'm saying. Or a lot of choosers is what I mean to say. And I think that the different houses sort of represent that, but I feel like it's less about the houses today and more about the subtitle of clarity and organization. I feel like even though things seem really muddled and like crazy kinda, and just okay, crazy example, apparently the right is just losing their mind because Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce from the Kansas City Chiefs football team are dating, and apparently they're like hitting it off, and she said some things and she tends to lean left, and so Fox News is the best, and Newsmax, they are just like, she shouldn't be leaning to the left, she should be like with us, and they're like so disgruntled, and how dare she, it's like so put out. She doesn't have to do anything for them, she's not doing anything for them. But this is the best part, they're calling her relationship and her influence on people, they're attacking the influence on one hand, and it's like so obvious they're so envious. They want that power that she has. One day she says something and like almost 40,000 people signed up to vote. So she does have influence. But the right is freaking out, and on the Fox they're like, it's a psyop. Yeah, that's really intricate. I don't deny the idea that there are psyops that are possible or have happened or are happening. I think there are, our society, it's so vast, a network that can be like integrated into by light, dark, left, right, and it's like for every person there's a thing. Let me put it that way, or several things. It's an intricate mesh, but I think the right is really just freaking out and losing it because they're losing it like left and right. Not doing well in elections, and the more they say, and it's just like black sewage coming out of their mouths and like licking forked tongues saying these things that it's like you're so butthurt and it's so obvious. And also, if those people, if Taylor Swift like influences somebody just because she says like, oh, I'm gonna vote for Biden, like that's all she has to do. She doesn't even have to say, hey guys, come on and vote for Biden, which is what they were saying on Fox and the other right-wing outlets. They're just like trying to forecast what she's gonna do, but they got this wacko scenario lined up, and I'm like, I don't think that's what's happening. I mean, she is like so independent just on her own and does so much for herself. It's like, I don't think that she would easily be made into a tool, and that's what they have been calling her also, as a tool. And then picking on the guy, the football player, for, you know, making an ad that for vaccines, which is against it. The right is against it. Don't even have the idea of a vaccine in your head. Don't those people have ads? Don't they need ads, the vaccine people? Like, I would shut up if I were Fox. They need to make up that Tucker Carlson money they lost. So I took a few notes on my card since I'm not sticking to anything here. Tidy home, coexistence. So that is something we the people kind of need to work on. I mean, there's people on those outlets that were freaking out about Taylor Swift that are talking about Civil War so much, and it's like, you can tell they like want it, but I'm like, why? Have you not studied history? This is not the Civil War era. We got bigger and worse weapons. We got stuff coming from like military applications that have made it, like the lightsaber thing that's I see an ad for on YouTube. It's supposed to be like some kind of light, but you can, it's like a laser, so you can cut with it. And there's in the ad, the guy's like cutting a wall, and I'm like, you think anybody's gonna get that and just restrict themselves to a wall? They're gonna want to cut people with that. They're gonna want to play Star Wars, and they're like, hurry up and get it before it gets taken down. Take it down. That's dangerous. Like, why? Who thought that was a good idea? Somebody that wanted to make some money, I guarantee it. Hurry up before it gets taken down and buy this dangerous thing. No, thank you. So, yeah. The Civil War? Do you know what you're saying? You think you're having trouble getting eggs now? Like, you don't think the prices of everything is not gonna skyrocket because everything's... Also, more history, World War II, rationing. Have some things, come on now. We gotta learn how to coexist. We, look at this neighborhood. I would say that that's a income disparity neighborhood, and yet they are coexisting. And look how cozy and nice it looks there. The light's all golden like candlelight, like sort of behind me. It's soothing. It's like a nice atmosphere. And our collective house, the United States, could definitely use some tidying up. We're sloppy with the crazy. It's making stuff not work. It seems deliberate, doesn't it? Like on the right, this new thing that's in the news, which I don't know, like, please pay attention. They're screaming and yelling all the time about the border crisis and how horrible it is and how Biden's not doing anything. And the border's just wide open. Well, for one thing, Biden did not change the border policy from the Trump policy. So if it's wide open now, it was wide open when Trump was there. Like, again, like, if we're having a war in this country, do you think people are not going to take... Look at how it is now. We got names for it. We got greedflation and shrink something, which is the packaging getting smaller of the food and the amount for the same price, or the price going up and the packaging going down in size. That's greed, just plain unadulterated, unfettered greed. And that's what happens in wars. Read a history, read a book, ask a vet. Like, it's just, how many times do we have to have the same thing repeated? I mean, I guess until we pay attention, whoever's not. But yeah, I mean, just if we can find a way to coexist and just have our stuff the way we want it and not be so bothered about what the other people are doing, what your neighbors are doing, it's fine. Everything's good. Calm down. Let's tidy up our national house and, you know, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we could do better interacting with each other. So, confidence opened the inner door, or was that faith? That was kind of a note to myself because I pulled all these cards, and as usual, I was like, But, you know, I finally just started writing, and then it came together. I love the way that happens. Sometimes I don't do it, and I can tell it makes a difference on these readings, so I have to stop being such a slob and, you know, at least keep to that part of my routine. Anyway, but I just had to dive in, and that's where the confidence came in. Like, I just had to be confident that the cards were going to speak to me, and I was going to have something to say, and it did. Everything worked out. Thank you. I'm so happy about that. And also, you could call it faith, you could call it confidence, you could call it starfish, as long as it works. So, the crow, blackness sitting on the world. The world's still colorful and vibrant, though. Truth. Remember, the crow's a bird, so it's bird-sized, but we tend to blow darkness out of proportion and give it too much power. And the darkness feeds on that. So, I mean, I always say there's a level of participation. So the darkness is going to do what you allow it to do. And that tells me that we got more control over it than we give ourselves credit for. Like, we don't have the confidence, really, or the faith in ourselves when we're given the darkness power to let it do horrible things, like elect terrible dictators that want to, like, restrict people's freedoms and do bodily harm to them, because that always happens in that type of atmosphere. So maybe we starve the darkness. The magician in us working for the magician in us working for or against us. You know, I guess that kind of touches on the darkness thing again, because, well, I mean, we want to say that the darkness is against us, but really, the darkness is telling us something. Oh, dang! God, finally! Because I was like, why am I seeing these all the time? And I did know, like, there was some kind of message that I was supposed to be getting. So, we don't have to feed the darkness. And I know this already. You know, I don't know if it's a debate, like, anywhere outside of my mind. Probably somewhere, but I really take Sterling's message of the whole devil and demons thing. That's not real. That's like a mock-up or something. But I feel like the reason why it can happen and be so powerful is because our fears feed it. But the darkness, like that particular variety, or any really, I feel like because they are on the other side of the veil and have more access to more, like, abilities that ours are, like, atrophied for the most part, because most of us don't have them operable. Like, we could, but it takes work, you know. It's like you gotta go to the spiritual gym, I guess, or the magic gym, and, you know, work your work your routine, work your program. But I feel like the forces of darkness, let's just call it that. Sterling calls them tricksters, basically. But because they have that ability and they're not solid, I guess has something to do with it, they can easily penetrate our awareness, our consciousness, and just pick out what scares us. And because there's a whole, like, setup already with, like, the Catholic Church and the devil and the demons and all of that stuff and the religion, it's easy for... We make it easy. We are easy pickings for this. But we don't have to be, you know. We can take a hand in our destinies. You know, if we want to, if we're aware. And also we can choose to go the dark side. We can choose that. And that's also, it's not all horrible. Like, I'm starting to, like, warm up to the idea, like, this is kind of fun. It's kind of strategic. It's like more than just, oh my God, fear and horror fall apart. Like, we don't have to. We can actually, because think about it, you know, you get the fear and the horror of, like, Taylor Swift endorsing Joe Biden and start falling apart, but you don't have to. It could happen, but so what? Your life will still go on. It's like we get so scared, we paralyze ourselves, but we give the darkness every opportunity because that's just sitting there in our heads waiting. You know, our being fearful and not having confidence in our abilities, confidence in ourselves, faith in our ability to dispel darkness, because we can do it. You know what? We really just have to put our foot down and say, and I know, look, I've watched the ghost shows too. I know how they can overwhelm your senses. I have lived in a ghost home. I know what it's like. But I also know from that experience that, well, it was able to do stuff to me, like make me scared. I felt like it had the ability to, like, do something to my physical senses, but it wasn't mental, because the whole time it was scaring me, I was like, it was trying to make me be argumentative, and I already had, like, a little bit of a thing about someone at the place that, like, I kind of didn't like that person, but I also appreciated the fact that I got to live in their house, so I, you know, just had it in my mind and tried to just keep it in there. But that thing, I knew it was like trying to get me to get angrier and more aggressiver and, like, start something with this person. And I was like, no, get out of here. And this was, like, before I'd seen all these ghost shows and knew anything about it, but somehow I knew I could argue and fight with it, or maybe that's just my personality. But it didn't get me as bad as it could have, you know. Like I pretty much, like, from day one, didn't agree with the characterization of what it was we were experiencing. I still have my feelings about what it was and what it wasn't. And I just somehow knew, like, it's better to get mad at it than let it scare me and make me do stuff. It's like the only time in my life I was, like, awake enough to not be manipulated, which is, can't do it in reality with actual people very well, but with a spirit, I'm like, you get away. But that's what you have to do, you know. And if you are not confident and you don't have faith in yourself, they can get in and work on you, because everything is there in our heads and in our hearts. A lot of times they've been people, so they know how to work a person. They might have been a manipulative person in life and just retain that knowledge for this purpose. But those things exist for us to interact with, find a way to coexist with, or repel completely from around us. And so Where am I? That's what I'm saying about the magician in us working for us or against us. Like, we can choose sort of life path wise to be quote good or quote evil, but those are just things that we say to give what happens meaning in our way of comprehending. Doesn't mean that it's 100% truly that thing, you know? And so if we have confidence and faith in our abilities, we don't have to be overcome by darkness. We don't have to just all totally believe in it and give it power and, you know, allow ourselves to think this can take me over. You know, you're really a powerful being. You yourself. You can say to yourself, I'm not going to let this happen to me. I don't want this. Get it away. And the more faith and confidence in yourself that you can put in that, the more powerful you will be to repel darkness in any form, really. I mean, I feel like you can apply it anywhere you find darkness. Two of Cups. Working together to spread love. That's what I get from this, because there's nothing dark and ugly about this here. All of these colors are pleasing pastels. That is... that's not a hateful hand holding, I'll tell you that. That's not someone being dragged off against their will. So I feel like we have the opportunity to, rather than aligning in darkness, align together in love, and it's more powerful, you know. And also, we can let this seep into our minds, and it's not as harmful as darkness. It feels better too. I mean, you know, I hate to say this, I love chocolate. They say chocolate is like pretty much the feeling of having an orgasm, so I like all of those things, but it really is not good to have a bunch of chocolate all the time. And also, chocolate makes you fat. It makes me fat. Dang it. So, I mean, I love chocolate, but chocolate is not my friend. Let's be real. Chocolate is not loving me. I love chocolate, but it is not loving me back. It's just an illusion. But, and I was trying to make an allusion, but I lost it. But I feel like, it doesn't have to be about love, but it can be about harmony. And that is something that we need, I feel like, to coexist. So that's there. And it is my contention that make love, not war. That. And finally, the Seven of Pentacles. Oh, wait. Hold on. Two of Cups working together into love. Well, okay. Two of Cups working together in love to spread it, to make its presence more demonstrable and more prominent, to dispel darkness with and for each other. So that's the deal. Making a deal, and that's the deal, the literal deal. Now, Seven of Pentacles. So planting seeds for the future, and this was my own addition. Focus on the long term, to escape and eclipse the darkness, because we can't just like say, there's a lot of it everywhere, so it would take like everybody having the faith and confidence in themselves to be able to say no to darkness. Like, don't want it, get out of here, you're not welcome. And like, I don't think it should have to be where you're like hair on fire, but you do have to be firm and like if you're afraid and it really grips you, then you need to flip that and make your confidence as strong and powerful, and then more so because you can. And as you can see, there's already little seedlings happening, or sprouts rather, but there's an awful lot of roots, which tells me there's more going on here than just this little plant. So it has a lot of potential for when it grows, and all of these I don't know why they remind me of chakras, but anyway, there's some form of growth energy, and they have like, they're giving like a genetic structure to whatever's growing here. Like each colored globule adds some nutrient or something to this plant that's gonna sustain life. And I think that's a metaphor, the sustaining life. Like, choose light, choose life. But also to tidy up our house and coexist together with more clarity and organization than we have in the past. So over the time that it takes for this to grow to its fullness, we can work on enhancing these traits in this tree of life. I'll just call it that. Although it does sort of look like a basil, what are those plants, those little Japanese trees that they trim and they live like a, dang, what is the word? Come on, brain. But, well, something with a T. But if you look at the trunk, it looks like one of those plants, but the leaves look like oregano to me, so who knows? All good things, though. Trees, oregano, all good. So, that's it. Thank you and good night.